Hi everybody, this is Master Gallon, guys, bringing you my review of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. mid-season premiere titled Bouncing Back. So, I was really excited to see what was going to happen after the mid-season break for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because it really left off with some interesting stuff. That the creature, whatnot, on that alien world had inhabited Ward's body, so we're going to get more of that, and that'll be interesting to see at the beginning of the season. So, what we got back into is everybody's kind of back in the groove. Fitz was working on something that we didn't know, but at the end of the episode we got a nice reveal in that he was working on a new prosthetic for Coulson, which was looked more like a actual real hand, kind of Star Warsy. They made calls to that as well, and he was happy with it. So the main bulk of this one, they're kind of still looking around the world, trying to see if they can find any more of the people that have been affected by the tainted fish oil or anything from the Terrigen crystals and everything, seeing what Inhumans are doing and everything. Now, they kind of thought that Ward and Hydra had been dealt with, but that actually comes back to kind of bite them in the ass later on in the episode. So they go away to their mission. They're in Colombia at the moment, and they're like, okay, so evidently there's this Inhuman that's able to move so fast or do something to not be seen, and has stolen some weapons from the police. So they're in there, and they're like, all right, we'll see what's going on for you. And that's when Mac encounters her, and he's like, okay, she looks weird, and she's their version of a speedster. But her powers work in a different way, as she describes later in the episode, that she can move as fast as she can in a heartbeat. So she always kind of has to return to her kind of resting position. So it's a nice way to keep her powers in check without being completely like, I can move as fast whenever I want. And then later on it's like, oh, okay. It still kind of stayed more grounded. And it was really interesting because she only spoke Spanish, and she had kidnapped Mac in the beginning because she didn't know if he was with the police or not, who are actually corrupt down there and were like using weapons and everything to kind of like take from people and everything. So he's like, I don't understand what you're saying, and she's like, I don't understand what you're saying. So eventually the rest of the away team found Mac and were able to talk with her, and they found out that she stole the weapons because of the corrupt police department not to like use them. And her cousin was tossing them over the bridge as Bobby and Hunter were like, okay, that's kind of weird. And the head chief and his lackey, who you're like, okay, what's up with this guy, were coming up. It's like, nope. And the lackey, it was actually a human, flashed up his eyeglasses and was able to kind of use a Medusa-like stare and paralyze all three of them. And sadly, they killed the speedster's cousin, and they found out about that later. And at first she's like, I don't want to do any of this, I just want to help my people. But they kind of bring her along to help rescue Hunter and Bobby from the police station, which they really kind of needed. So this was a nice episode that showed the kind of secret warriors that could be done, because you got Daisy as Quake using her powers, you have Joey using his melting powers, and then you got the speedster going and doing all this stuff. Daisy's like, all right, Mac, you and me do this and that, and she's like already done it, and they're like, okay. But it did go to show that once they started going up against the Mr. Medusa, I shall call him at the moment, that he kind of stunned her right when she was like running, so that kind of knocked her out. So the way to get around that was that Joey melted the glasses on his face, so that way he couldn't use his stare. But right as they had him like captured, Hydra sent in a vehicle and rescued him. So as that's going on, Coulson's trying to find out more about Gideon Malik, the only head of Hydra at the moment, and they decide to use Baron von Strucker's son, who is kind of in a vegetative state, being almost nearly killed. So they put him in the Tahiti machine to try and get anything that they can get out of him, which they eventually do, but at great risk to almost killing him. So Coulson and Gideon have their little tete-a-tete on a phone that he was able to use, and I was like, doesn't matter. I'll have to waste a couple million shutting down these offices, but I ain't afraid of you. And Coulson's like, well, screw you. So as that's going on in Hydra as well, Malik's kind of like feeling out the new ward, even though it's the alien creature in there who evidently needs to eat raw meat and does not take kindly to being thought of as lesser. So he's like, we're gonna have to see what his powers and everything are, but I'm really excited to see where that's going. And then also what happened is that the president visited Coulson and pretty much acknowledged you need to do what you're doing, but you're just gonna have to be Black Ops. So essentially, the ATCU is still gonna be the head, but you're gonna be the one doing the shots. He's like, all right, I can do that. And then he's like, well, we're also gonna need a new head of the ATCU, so I'm gonna put in Talbot. It's like, oh joy. That'll be interesting that Talbot will be taking orders from Coulson, but that's kind of cool in keeping with the connected of the universe. So I really liked where this episode was going, kind of showcasing where we're going to be going this season, the back half of the season. So I'm looking forward to what's going to be going on, especially with Ward alien thingy, and like how that's really going to screw over Hydra because Gideon has no idea what he's playing with. And I'm really excited to see everything that's going to be happening with the Secret Warriors. That's really gelling together nicely, and I'm going to be happy to see what's going on with that. So those are my thoughts. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think of the episode, if you agree with me, disagree. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good day.